Morning, Jeff.
We also have an advocate of the High Court, Dennis Anyoka. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
We also have Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, MP Daragwa, and also Chair of the CIOC. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
Let me start with Ken Bosiri on this, because I'm trying to understand how all the papers this morning, one man, different angles to what is going on. We have the People Daily and the Standard talking about the case that has been reopened, a case that was being investigated 9 years ago. We have the Daily Nation talking about Ruto headed for a public clash with Raila. Same story being led in the Star. DP Ruto hatches scheme to hijack Raila's BBI rallies. Can we go a day, Ken, without talking about the Deputy President on the front page? Is it possible in the news cycle?
It's impossible. He's the man
who's making the news.
Always making the news. At the center of everything is about Ruto. Ruto this, Ruto that. Ruto from politics, Ruto to other things, Ruto to crime like these cases. He's going to be the man because of the political nature of our country.
Right.
That he's stated very clearly, this is where I'm going. And a lot of his moves keep puzzling everybody. Every day is something new to say about Ruto.
Right.
Whether it's a political thing, like what he did yesterday, his allies did yesterday, that's a political move that is bound to send people to the drawing board, because it had been marked out that he would be on the other side of BBI. But he has embraced it, come to the center of it, and right there is going to sit at the place where we're going to talk about BBI.
Right. With
an intent, like his ally said yesterday, we will build one big bridge. They thought they would do little bridges elsewhere. But there was a clincher there, something that is likely to resonate very well with the public. That we should not use state resources. Let's sponsor ourselves to this. There's no contestation. So if we want to go and gather for a deliberation like a baraza, let's take our money there and use it.
Right.
Instead of using, because we have all said we want a document for all of us.
Okay.
I think for me that's a deft political move that should sit well with everybody. But again, like you say, when the two of them sit at the same place, the two protagonists, there's going to be high octane. Even if they don't speak it out, you would see it, even the protocol arrangements and everything else. So he's actually thrown the ball to the court. The other guys who said to his opponents, there you have it, here I am. You can't fault this man for being daring. You can't fault him for his focus. You can't fault him that he knows where he's going and every step he makes. So like all these things, everybody is going to throw balls at a guy who looks like he's the strongest man on the court. Okay.
And you'll be talking about that particular move in terms of his perceived allies joining the BBI rallies. Let me come to Dennis on this, because on the front page of your People Daily and the Standard, in the People Daily, it's on page 4, state reopens 272 million shilling Ruto land case. This was 9 years ago.
Yes.
Coincidental that he's coming back 9 years now, because you know, in politics they say timing is everything. Is there more than meets the eye with the reopening of this investigation now?
Jeff, legally, there is no limitation of time on criminal matters. Right. Whether you committed the crime 40 years ago and the state feels they have new evidence, or there's some change of circumstances, they have something they didn't have then, they have the right to reopen the investigations and even charge you afresh. So we don't have a limitation of time on criminal matters. But considering the fact that there's a lot going on around politics and Ruto gets involved, and there has been a continuous, very strategic plan to like block him from doing his politics or being president if he's going to fly. Nobody should be faulted for imagining that this is all politics. And remember, at one point that we have, some of us have said openly that we think at one point the DPP has played politics in the manner in which some of these charges have been drafted. So it's possible that anybody can imagine that this reopening is not purely because of new evidence or another reason. At least I've not seen on the paper anybody reporting this, anything so new that has happened. So the reading of politics in it is there. Right. It is there that probably this is, remember, Ruto politically has been a very difficult person to hold. Because when politically you want to box him on one side, he finds his way out, and before you realize, he's at the center of where you didn't want him to be. He's been a very complicated man politically to contain in one space. Right. So if, for any reason, that is able to be charged in one of these criminal cases, and we get a conviction, or he's charged in a way that it's an offense that cannot allow him to be cleared, then probably that would be a way to block him in 2022 if this route succeeds.
Right.
But it's not all politics. I mean, we want to imagine that the police and the DPP independently will do their investigation. If there's anything new, he by all means needs to be investigated and charged in court.
Honorable Kioni, I'll come to you because even you seemed a bit surprised when you saw the front page story this morning. And you look at it because this is something that happened when I think he was higher education minister at the time when this particular issue came up. And the big question everybody's asking, okay, fine, why now?
And I think most likely when we were in Parliament together with him. And, but I think my colleagues have captured it. You recall that during the 2010 Constitution referendum process, I was among the people who sat in Naivasha, and the Deputy President was one of the 27 members of Parliament. So we were with him at Naivasha. And being the politician that he is, and he's really a good politician, we left Naivasha with a yes. All of us. But I don't know where I am in between Naivasha and Nairobi. He decided to be a no. So by the time he was hitting Nairobi, the following day when you were saying we have a document and it's a good document, he just gave us a few minutes, and then later on, within this, I think the following day, same day, he said, I'm here, I was also in Naivasha, and I'm saying no. Because he quickly identified a gap. And the gap was that those who are likely to say no have no leader. And he decided to become the leader of the no team. And that political decision propelled him to where he is today, the Deputy President of this Republic. And he said he just offered leadership to the other side. In my opinion, not because there was anything wrong with the document, but there was a political opportunity that was out there waiting for somebody to seize it up, and he did it, and give him credit for that. The BBI has also is there, unlike perhaps the 2010 Constitution, BBI seems to have come and caught many perhaps the wrong way, because when there was an opportunity to say no, the no doesn't seem like it would help anybody's political career at the stature of William to grow. It can only dim it. But a young politician can actually come and lead the no side. And he'll actually, in the coming days, he will be a person who can get us somewhere. But where he is today, if he takes the no position, which is what was looking like for a while, his political star can only dim. So he's actually gone to look for space within the yes side. And it's going to be very interesting to see how, what kind of position the two of them take. Again, you remember 2010 Constitution, when we were doing the Constitution, we had Raila and Mwai Kibaki. And fortunately, Mwai Kibaki was not going to run again. So there wasn't anybody to oppose Raila, or to oppose the yes, to be an opposition within the yes team. Right. So Raila was looking like he was the only person moving, until again Uhuru came in and said yes. So again, so it's really a similar thing. For the top political guns, it is a 2022 game plan. But for all of us in the country, we must also wake up and realize this is another opportunity we have as Kenyans to move the country forward outside the 2022 politics. But we cannot stop them from politicking for 2022, because that's what is occupying their space. But for those of us who have other opportunities, like where I chair the committee of CIOC, my responsibility is to look for an opportunity to change the lives of Kenya and the direction the country is going, join the president in moving the country from point A to point B, even as we come to 2022. And that is, that's something that we must be very, very clear in our minds. Because when you talk about BBI, because it is what is all there, when you talk about BBI, it's a question of asking ourselves, yes, we are doing bridges to bridge gaps. One, identify the gaps. Two, identify this bridge that we are doing and define it, because we are forgetting what BBI meant. And then three, wake up to the reality that this is an initiative by the president. That's why it's a BBI. It's an initiative by the president. And if you do not like it, let us see your initiative. Because there are issues that needs to be dealt with in this country. He has made an initiative. You cannot just wake up and say it's a bad one without giving us an alternative initiative. Because how do you intend to solve those problems that have been identified by Kenyans, and they exist? In my opinion, we can only help with this initiative as we wait for another initiative 2022. Because you read the Constitution, Article 131 and 132, these are initiatives that must be reported upon or on every March of the year to Parliament. So the President is working and implementing parts of the Constitution so that he can be able to report every March of the year to Parliament in line with Article 131, 132. Okay, but on the issue of this reopening the thing, he said it. If you have had us the wrong way, anywhere in your service to the public, you can never sleep late. You never know at what point cases can be reopened. Right. Because we did it in our constitution, again for our 2010 constitution, because we removed the limitation of time, which was there before. We could not, if it was the old constitution, 6 years have lapsed since this kind of probe was done. So we would have said done away with, buried, and we rested. But it means that 40 years from now, it can even be dealt with when you are dead. Right. So that we can deal with these bones that are 6 feet under here, what kind of damage did they cause to us as a country? Right. Which is a good thing. And again, let me now just say the last thing on this. The issue with BBI, and this is where I think politicians are waking up to. The issue with BBI is that in the event that you are found to have had done a mistake 10 years ago, of this nature or any other nature, BBI, when you read it between the lines, it says you cannot run 2022. And there lies our biggest nightmare as politicians.
And you'll be coming to the BBI and of course the rally that's coming up this weekend. Excuse me. But Ken, let me come to you, because we're looking at a scenario where, yes, once these investigations are done, if they find the evidence, they'll go to the court of justice. But in the court of public opinion, the sentiments that you see online, when you hear people talking about it, they're asking, why is it this one man who's been investigated on so many different acts of crime, his perceived allies, what really is going on there? So even as justice takes place in the court of public opinion, there's a different debate going on as to why the keen focus on this person and people perceived to be close to him.
I think, like my colleagues have said, there is a very thin line that we are treading here between what we're calling the political question of the day, the context, and every other item that you bring on board. The bigger question in the minds of people, while we are talking about BBI as the bigger thing with sub-issues, maybe even bigger than the political question, there is going to be, why now? The timing, what was the context of this? For me, it's a good thing, and also a very dangerous thing, like Honorable Kunia said, because cases never die. They will always be alive. We've seen the Nuremberg cases being tried even many years, tens of years later. But what guarantees there that today we can use the same things to solve a political question? What stops you tomorrow from somebody else using the same instruments to block you? When are we going to bring a closure and say, let's do the line, sift between our politics and what is legal and what else? So that you must come with clean hands. That's what they say. If you want to join this, will come with clean hands. I was just thinking as we're going through this thing, everybody's talking about this story. There's a very fresh thing in our minds about the cases of 2007. How many more can we reopen? Right. How many more can we reopen? Because they are alive. I've had people alluding to them about the Kiambaa charge and other things. But there's a whole cocktail of things. The politicians, as they try and clear their path to survive in politics, they have to now begin to look back and say, where are we walking? What have whose toes have I stepped on? What laws have I transgressed? So all these things, I think, because of who we are, the politics, whatever we pawns we throw into the chess game, are going to be read against the political background.
Right.
Whether we want to be clearly and go and step in the mountains and say this is clearly cut out from this one, and take it to the bank. Ruto is going to have to milk this. You saw, they brought this, it didn't work.
Right.
They're going to throw another hurdle to this thing. Here I am. He's going to play victim in capital letters. And in the public eye, a victim will always draw empathy. And this is the question, that if you want to do this, you have to know how. Because they have to be sure that Ruto will surely use this. This is good for him.
Right.
Negative publicity, but it's good for him at the question now.
And Jeff, perhaps, as my colleague Makori is saying, you see, in politics, anything that you do that brings you to publicity is good. Whether
all publicity is good.
All publicity is good in politics. For now, Ruto is the main person. We want to speak about everything. In fact, the police and the DPP are likely to suffer the highest blow, because somebody will ask, why is the police and the DPP so focused on Ruto issues, yet we have never seen even a single prosecution of this person? All the time they have accused about everything. You see, really nothing is happening. Yet we have active issues that the general public has been crying out to ask that the DPP and the police investigate. In 2017, we have had murders by the police, and we were hoping to see somebody take responsibility. The police and the DPP are not interested, or at least we have not seen anything happening. Yet they are very concerned about William Ruto and every other case they want to reopen. And we even have issues. This is not new to him now. I mean, I'm sure if he's read this this headline, he's not bothered, because he's been on the limelight on even worse things.
Right.
And has been pushed down on worse criminal perceptions. And the state has never, even on a single occasion, charged him and succeeded to have him charged fully and prosecuted. So if it goes to 2022 with all these kind of headlines, we're going to say, yes, these are political distractions. These are people who don't want me to vie. There's nothing against me.
Right.
They have only tainting my name. It has not worked, and that's why we are strong and they are moving. And as it has been said, he's going to play victim very well, and he's going to get support out of that.
I know you want to go for a break.
I wanted to ask I want to speak to this as well, because we're talking about it from the point of view, as Ken Dennis has said, in the sense that he looks like he might use this and play victim, in the sense that justice seems to be selective to the people it's being applied on. And then we come to the addresses made by the president when he says that, okay, fine, I've done all I can when it comes to matters like fighting corruption and all of this. I hand it over to the judiciary. But this is the same executive that has ignored several court orders to bring, for example, Miguna back into the country. He's gone back to Canada. Okay. So why this strong arm on some people, and on the other side, those same hands are tied and can't do anything? The questions are asked.
Allow me to differ for many reasons, including the fact that we cannot be thinking the same order of us at the same table. Look at the standard headline. If you go to the front page, all of us have decided to read the one in bold. But there's another one bigger, smaller bold, right on top there. Millionaire trader with zero
tax returns.
He's also headed to the court. This young man called
Jared Otieno.
And when you go inside, you'll actually find that there is even another issue on us as MPs. Muturi is telling us Parliament is not a place for MPs linked to crime. He's not going to give us immunity anymore in Parliament. So if you go through this newspaper, it is really a question. It's really a question or a fact that anything that relates to the Deputy President, the President, Raila Amolo Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, would find space in the newspaper in that order. So before they catch up with my name, I could be stuck somewhere in the middle there, but I could be going through the same moves. I mean, Bob Owino, you cannot say that he is any better because his name is not in the headline. It's only that we had something to mention about the president and his deputy, or an Raila. So they will come to the front of the page. In other words, what I'm saying is that we must give our system credit. The DPP, the DCI have done what has never been done. And I think we have also to get to the culture of BBI, appreciating those officers we have given responsibility for the efforts they are making, and of course calling for more. Today, it is no longer business as usual. When you go into the public offices, they are not going to start by asking you a bribe as you walk in. They are careful because they know there is another eye looking. They can still escape. I'm sure there are still those who are escaping. But even as you look at that, the headline again of this news, and again, if I take you back, if you see this one of the Standard, there is the governor of Kiambu, Waitito. He's also there, but if this was not there, perhaps it would have been a headline. So I am saying that let us not lie to ourselves. The issue of fighting corruption in this country is a big thing. And for those of us in politics, have to be careful. Right. The BBI has many good things that it has said, and this is what is going to play out in this country. When we were coming in, a gentleman in the lift said, I don't know, but I think he was also coming to one of the stations within here. But he said this: now that all of us have agreed to support the BBI, there is nobody opposing it. Can we now read paragraph by paragraph? Let us now go to the detail. And I tell you that is where we are in trouble. Because in the BBI, and I've read it, not that I am the master of it, but I have read it. One of the things it is saying is that we are not going to wait for the outcome of court cases for you to be barred from running. The fact that you have an issue of mismanaging a public office in one time in your life is enough for the electoral body to say, clear it, come. So Kenyans are being asked, do we give the IEBC that power to allow you to process your issues in court and then come to us? And I want to tell you, the ordinary Kenyans, if that is led to them in that format, they will say yes.
Okay. Now I'll have to take a pause at that point.
I knew the break was coming.
We'll come back after the break because, of course, we still talk about the BBI even as I get ready for the rallies this weekend. And we want your views as well. You can tweet us at K24 TV. You can also SMS us. Our number is 21222. You can also get us on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number will be at the bottom of the screen there. You can send us your WhatsApp messages, and you'll be looking at them right here on the show. Back with plenty more after the break.
Let's dive into the political world and discussions as we focus on the day's headlines in the newspapers